Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to talk a bit about Mission Impossible Fallout. I really like Tom Cruise as an action hero and as an actor in general. Maybe not as a person, he's a bit strange. But apart from that, in those movies, he's pretty great. They're all like complete ego trips, but they work. They completely work for me. The first movie, I remember not being too keen on it. I thought it was definitely the closest in terms of tone to the original series, and by that I mean it was boring. But there was a lot of good things about that movie. It was very slick and well made, and Tom Cruise was great. I just found it a little bit dull at times. I like the original team in the film at the start of the movie, but then they kill everyone off, spoilers, and they introduce a new team with like Jean Reno, etc. That I didn't really like them. And the villain was a bit so-so. The second movie, everyone, craps on it, but it's honestly pretty awesome. It's it's really dumb. It's definitely the dumbest film in the franchise by a long shot. It's so dumb, and it's really over the top, and it's really silly. But it's so much fun. Like it's honestly, it's right up there with Con Air as one of those action movies. Con Air, or name a Nicolas Cage movie, The Rock or something, as just action movies that are really, really stupid, and you really need to turn your brain off to enjoy it. But once you do that, it's just like a roller coaster ride of just pure popcorn bliss. And Mission Impossible 2 was that. Plus, it's a great looking movie. It's John Woo, and he makes every shot look like it's the most beautiful shot in the world, and lots of slow motion, and Tom Cruise on bikes going really fast, which happens in the new movie actually, which I was very happy about. It's interesting actually, in Mission Impossible Fallout, it's kind of a love letter to the whole franchise in a way, because there's a few winks to stuff that happens in earlier movies. I was half expecting them to bring back the gloves, the magic gloves from Ghost Protocol. Mission Impossible 3 is my favorite of the lot still. It's dark, it's gritty, it's got an awesome villain played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was a brilliant actor, and he really makes the most of this part. And he's like the only villain in the whole franchise to this day, for me, that's just like feels like a legit threat. And he's like really intimidating. But that movie had it all, it was just like a great action movie, a great story. Tom Cruise was great in it. The masks, you had all the Mission Impossible masks in it. Great villain. It looked great. J.J. Abrams really did a good job with that movie, and it didn't feel too heavy or I don't know, or boring like the first film. It was just right in terms of length and pace. I don't know. I think it ticked all the right boxes for me. Ghost Protocol, the fourth movie, was also really, really good. Wasn't too keen on some of the comic relief like Simon Pegg, who is okay. But I prefer him in stuff like Hot Fuzz or World's End than Hollywood movies where he tends to just be like a token comic relief. And yeah, he's one of the things I'm not too keen on the new team of Mission Impossible in the Mission Impossible movies. But Ghost Protocol was excellent, like just a really good time. Lots of suspense, great movie. Rogue Nation, the last one, was not my favorite at all. I was kind of a little bit disappointed by that movie actually. I felt like it was missing something. The action was good. It's a good looking movie. The actors are competent. It's a competently made film. It was just missing like something. I don't know, just something to make it stand out apart from the plane scene. But yeah, I left the theater kind of hoping the next one would be better. And I'm happy to report that Mission Impossible Fallout is better. It is a better movie, and I really enjoyed this new movie. I was actually kind of scared going into it because I'd seen like the trailers and a lot of feedback on the movie, lots of reviews, and it seemed very, very positive, and the trailer looked great. So I was like scared that it's either gonna be really, really good or really, really bad, because if everyone likes something, it tends to mean it's not great. But I was pleasantly surprised. The film opens in a very strange way, which is that they show you Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg and the rest after the whole like if you choose to accept it mission thing, which is a really good scene where it's very clear in how it describes to you what the mission is. After that, they show you a fuck up, basically, that Tom Cruise and the team failed to recover the plutonium balls. It's the MacGuffin of the film this time. It's plutonium balls. It's like 3 of them, and you know, it's all the whole character arc of the film is Ethan Hunt. We don't know if he's really kind of blinded by his humanity. So like he cares too much about people almost to make the tough decisions and, you know, do the horrible things that his job essentially demands. So, you know, everyone's doubting him in this movie, including Alec Baldwin, who's his boss. And there's like another woman as well, and her henchman, who is played by Henry Cavill. And so it's all about, is he like too good of a person to do this job? Is he not? I don't know. Is he gonna betray? Like, is he gonna kill people to get to what he's trying to do? It's interesting. It's actually like a really interesting exploration of that character, because that's one of the things I felt was a bit missing in the last movie. Was Ethan Hunt was just Tom Cruise. Like, he didn't even try to play a character. In this one, you kind of feel like there's a bit more depth to him. So they start the movie off with a fuck up, and then that's like followed by a really clever twist. You know, that's pure like Mission Impossible. Like, that's exactly something that would happen in a Mission Impossible movie. So they show you both sides of what Ethan Hunt can do. But at the same time, it's kind of like, why would he make such a like obvious mistake early on? But, you know, that's again all part of the character arc, so it kind of makes sense. After that, it's all about well, it starts off being about stopping this kind of mass, you know, explosion of plutonium in various places in the world. So they kind of stop that, but then one or two of the balls go missing, and the bad guy from the last movie with the weird voice, he's gonna be like released or something. Not released, but he's gonna be like transferred somewhere. And then there's this whole underground business where they you know, they steal criminals and they do all this shady stuff behind the scenes. And so Ethan Hunt has to go and pretend like he's like this mythical figure, like this guy who killed a lot of people, but no one knows who he is or what he looks like, of course. So he pretends to be that guy to get to the bad guy in the last movie with the funny voice, and basically just grab him for whatever reason. It gets quite complicated. I haven't thought about the movie in a few days, so I'm just gonna try to remember the story. And meanwhile, there's the girl from the last movie who is on a mission herself that kind of conflicts with Ethan Hunt's mission. She's working for MI6, and obviously Ethan Hunt has Simon Pegg's character, Ving Rhames' character helping out, and Alec Baldwin shows up about halfway through the movie, I guess. And big spoilers, you know, I've already probably spoiled a few things, I'm sorry, but big spoilers from now on. Henry Cavill is an important character in this movie. He's got the mustache, the Justice League mustache, and he's good, actually. He's pretty good. He does the whole like thing from that GIF everyone's seen, old GIF. And yeah, he's an intimidating like henchman, but he's a good guy at the start, and then obviously twist happens and he's the bad guy. But he's not just a bad guy, he's like the super bad guy. He's the guy that Ethan Hunt was pretending to be at one point. So it makes it all very interesting, and the action scenes are fantastic. Like, there's action scenes in like every town in Europe and the world. It's basically like there's all these action scenes in London. There's one huge one in Paris where he's on a bike, and then he goes on the ground, and then he's going all around the Arc de Triomphe, and there's all these car chases. It goes on forever, but it's amazing, you know. That's the thing about this movie. You could cut like 20 minutes from that movie, but it would all be stuff that you would miss, you know. It would all be stuff that like maybe it's like a side mission that doesn't really relate too much to the story, but you want it there because it's exciting and it's really cool. Like all the action scenes are great. It's just like that's why I like Tom Cruise, because he knows what makes like a good old school car chase, or like he always tries to up the ante, and he does it really well. Like he has a really solid understanding as a producer of what people want to see in an action movie, and I respect that. And also I respect like all the crazy stunts that he does, because I mean he doesn't do all the stunts, but he does a great. You can tell when it's him doing some of that stuff. Like there's a huge like helicopter scene like near the end of the film that goes on forever. Again, it's like you're watching Top Gun almost, except it's with a helicopter. And yeah, the whole thing culminates on this cliffside, and where obviously the bad guy and good guy are fighting, but it's so intense. It's so intense. Like it all relies on they have to press this button at the right moment, but it's like so hard to get to that you really can't conceive of how Ethan Hunt is gonna do all this stuff in 15 minutes. I know I'm being a bit abstract in how I'm telling it, because I don't really want to ruin the whole thing. It's too long to explain anyway. You got so many things happening in this movie by the end that it's just like hard to breathe almost. It's interesting because like the whole film, I feel like 2 hours, takes place like a normal movie, and then the last 15 minutes is in real time. Like there's a bomb that's gonna explode in like 15 minutes and kill everybody, and it's like those 15 minutes are like happening beat by beat. Like it's actually live. It's like actually happening in 15 minutes. So it makes it really intense. You've got Tom Cruise trying to get on a helicopter and somehow get to another helicopter while it's still in the air to grab a thing and press a button, but you've got the bad guy in there, and it's all very complicated, while at the same time you've got Simon Pegg and the girl who are like fighting the bad guy from the last movie, and you have Ving Rhames like cutting wires with Michelle Monaghan, who's back in this movie actually. Yeah, it's like non-stop. It's like crazy stuff, and the ending is like it's just great. These helicopters are like crashing into each other, like tumbling down the cliff. It's just like, how are these people not dead? And I really like that it ends with kind of a fist fight on a cliff, which kind of brings up kind of Mission Impossible 2 type of things that happen. The Mission Impossible 2 starts with Tom Cruise climbing a cliff, and it ends with him fist fighting a dude on the beach. So it's kind of like interesting how they and there's also like the whole kind of all the action scenes are kind of takeoffs of the last movie as well, so it kind of refers back to that. And Ving Rhames and Michelle Monaghan obviously from much earlier in the series, I think Mission Impossible 3 onwards. So it's all like I think she was in Mission Impossible 2, was she? I know Thandie Newton was in that, but I need to rewatch Mission Impossible 2 actually. Maybe I'll just be like, this sucks. After all this time I've been praising it, like finally I'll rewatch it, I'll be like, this is terrible. Why did I like this? No, it's great. It's great. I'm talking crap. It's really good. But Mission Impossible Fallout was just a good time. You know what I mean? If you just want to see like a really, really well made action film, this is kind of the film you have to see this year, because I think it's, if not the best action film I've seen this year, it's like in the top 2 or 3. So it's definitely worth a watch. And there was something interesting about how this movie is made, like the style of it, like the music felt like it was like, it's obviously the Mission Impossible theme, but it's like a revamped version that's it sounded like Hans Zimmer. I didn't check if it was Hans Zimmer, but it sounded a lot like him. And the whole film actually had this Dark Knight Rises type of vibe to it, or Dark Knight even. Like it felt like Christopher Nolan directed this movie somehow. I don't know, yeah, it's quite dark and gritty, but it's also like really wild and fun. Like the action scenes, like there's a huge focus on making them as impressive as possible, and it works. And he also felt a little bit like Sam Mendes when he did Skyfall. It's that kind of movie, it's like there's music going on, there's like a beat going on throughout the whole film, and each sequence builds and builds and builds, and the story gets more and more complicated, and there's lots of twists and turns, and yeah, it's just like a really, really intense, exciting movie. And I wasn't bored 1 second actually watching it. You know, it was quite nail biting actually. So I definitely recommend you watch it. I mean, if you like the Mission Impossible movies as a franchise, I think you'll have a great time with this movie. It might even end up being your favorite, because for me, it's like right up there. It's maybe like number 2 or 3. Like, my favorite's the third one. I did really like Ghost Protocol. I have to say I really like Ghost Protocol. But this is like right up there with Ghost Protocol, you know. It's like, it's as good, you know, or almost as good, basically. So I can't not recommend this movie. Definitely go see it. Because I've looked at the films coming out for the rest of the year, and it's like, I don't know what I'm excited for. It looks like we've kind of peaked at this point. You know, we've had Star Wars too early. We've had Incredibles. We've had, you know, we've had all the stuff, all the superhero movies. No, there's another. Oh, there's Aquaman. Great. No, I'm sure I'll be fine, but it's like, I'm not really excited about it. You know, what's left? We've had Ant-Man. It's, yeah, I don't know. I'm not excited for too much coming up this year, so, you know, if anything comes out that's better than this movie, I'll be like very surprised, and pleasantly so. You know, I want to be surprised. But you know, for now, this is really good. This is like definitely the best like action movie of the summer. You know, with Avengers, of course. So yeah, definitely check it out. I saw it on a really big screen. I suggest you do the same. You know, I think you can watch it in 3D. I don't know if that's really necessary, but you know, wherever you go see it on the big screen and bring it all your friends and family. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So thanks for watching this video. I'll be back talking about some Netflix shows I've watched recently. And yeah, I don't even know like what film I'm gonna see next. That's how bad like the roster of things coming up. So fingers crossed there's something good coming up. See you guys later. Take care.